Hey everybody, I thought I would do another video. It's been a while since I've did a granny square. I really liked this one. I thought it was pretty cool the way it was. I kind of like it to call it solids and spaces, and then I just kind of liked the way it gave you the optical illusion that it was rectangular, but in fact it is a square. This one measures about 5 inches. I think it's just a little bit from the wonkiness of crocheting, but it's a square, and it, to me, aesthetically it looks like a rectangle. So the supplies that you'll need, I used worsted weight acrylic yarn, but of course if you're going to use this for anything hot, then it is always recommended that you use cotton yarn. I used a H or a 5mm hook for this particular project. Of course, if you want to go a little higher or a little lower, then just adjust your hook size. You will need your darning needle, and then a pair of scissors, and of course your yarn, whatever color you want to do. So go ahead and gather your supplies, and I'll meet you back here and we can start with round 1. Okay, so hopefully you have all of your supplies gathered together. We are going to start this particular project with a magic circle, and what we're doing is we're building round 1. So it'll be 3 double crochets and then a chain 3 for your corners, and then 2 chain 3. So we'll go ahead and we'll build that out together. So you're going to start with a chain 3, which counts or acts as a double crochet, and then you're going to put in an additional 2 double crochets, and that will be the first side. Then you're going to chain 3 for the corner, and you're going to double crochet. Now we're starting the side that have those spaces. So 1 double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet, then you're going to chain 3 for your second corner. I'm going to make my circle just a little smaller. And now you're going to put 3 double crochets. And then a chain 3, double crochet, get in there, chain 1, and double crochet. Now you're going to chain 3, and this is your last corner, and then you're going to, I like to just reduce my circle a little bit, and now you're going to slip stitch it into the top of the original chain 3 that's acting as a double crochet, and I like to slip it under both parts of the stitch, and you're going to slip stitch that together. Okay, and then I just give a nice tug once it's all in there. Oops, wrong one. And start my working tail, pull that all together, and then you should have the beginning of your square. So you should have 3 together, 3 double crochets together, and then every corner is your chain 3, and then your sides are your double crochet, your chain 1, double crochet. So your, as I like to call them, your solids will be opposite each other, and then your spaces will be opposite of each other, okay? Now, if you wanted to make every round a different color, you definitely could. I love this color. I just think it reminds me of coffee, and I'm a coffee addict, so I just love this color, and it complements my kitchen. So if you wanted to, you could fasten off and then attach a new color, but we're just going to push forward for round 2. Okay, so in round 2, what we're going to be doing is this, as I like to call the solids, we're going to be increasing by 4 on both sides. So it's 2 on the right side and 2 on the left side. So one side, or each side, will increase by 4. And then on what I like to call the spaces, it will increase each side by 2. But remember, it's one double crochet and a chain 1. So the instructions or the pattern is a little confusing. So I will write the pattern in the notes below, but I did want to show it to you because it can get a little confusing, and I had to adjust the pattern so that I liked the way it came out. It was really kind of crazy the way the pattern was. So we're going to start with a chain 3, and that's our double crochet. And then we're going to put 1 double crochet in each of these stitches. So that's 3 double crochets. So now remember, I mentioned that we are going to increase on the solid side by 2 on each side. So this chain 3 is 1 because it's part of the corner. And now that we're in the corner, we're going to do 2 double crochets because we're coming off the solid side. So that's 2 double crochets, and then we're going to chain 3 because we're building out our corner. And now we're working on our spaces side. So remember, I mentioned that we're going to increase 1 on each side. So your corner, when you're on the spaces side, will be only 1 double crochet, a chain 1, and then you're going to put a double crochet in each of the double crochets from the previous row. So that's 2. So remember, you're going to double crochet, chain 1, and then put it in the next double crochet and chain 1. And now we're in a corner, so we're going to add only 1 double crochet on this side. Okay. And now we're going to do our chain 3 because we're in the corner. And now we're coming on a solid side, so we will start the row with 2 double crochets. Let me get a little bit more yarn here. Oops, missed it. All right, so 2 double crochets, and now we're going to go 1 double crochet in each of the existing stitches, so that's 3. And now we're at a corner, but we're coming off the solid side, so we're going to add 2. And then chain 3. Now we're on the spaces side, so that's just 1 double crochet and a chain 1. And now we're going to put a double crochet in each of the existing double crochets from the previous row, but don't forget to add that chain 1. So that'll be double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and now we're adding a double crochet because now we're in the corner, and we add 1 at the beginning and we add 1 at the end. And now we're going to chain 3 so that we can come around the corner. But remember, we need to add our second double crochet for the increase. I'm running out of yarn here. Hold on. There we go. and then we're going to slip stitch it into the top of that original chain 3 that we began the round with. So let's count our stitches to make sure your stitches are like the same as mine, or where you should be. So on your solid side, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then on the spaces side, you should have 4 with a chain 1 in between. And then of course your corner should be your chain 3. So you should be able to see that clearly around the corners. Okay, so that's round 2. So let's go ahead and start round 3. Okay, so for round 3, notice where we're starting in the row of the solids. We're starting in the second double crochet. So when we chain 3, we are off of the corner, so we have to remember that we have put 2 in here, and then we have to add a third one here. So we're actually starting in the 4th double crochet when you look at the row as a solid. It's actually like this. You see, this is where I chained 3, and I have 3 previously. So that's what I mean when I say that this chain 3 is actually the 4th in this row when you're counting. And I'm counting this way too. So we're going to chain 3, and that's our double. And then we're going to add 1 double crochet in each of the existing stitches from the previous round. Just have to pull out more yarn. I was trying, but it wasn't coming out easy from the skein of yarn. Okay, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and now we're at the corner. So we're going to put 2 because we're on the solid side of it, and then we're going to chain 3, and now we're on the spaces side. So remember, it's only 1 double crochet in the beginning and at the end of that side. So 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then 1 double crochet in each existing double crochet from the previous round. Double crochet, chain 1. Oops. Double crochet for each of these 4 stitches, but don't forget your chain 1s because you want those spaces in between. Okay, chain 1, and now I'm at the end of the spaces side, so I'm in my corner, so I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to add my double crochet into that corner, and now I'm going to chain 3. And now I'm on my solid side, so remember we're going to add 2 in the corner, and then 1 double crochet in each existing stitch from the previous round. So that should be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in each of these 7 stitches. So on the solid side, we'll have 11 total on both, 11 on each side. And now that I'm coming on my corner, I'm going to do 2 into the chain 3 space for my corner, and I'm going to chain 3, And now I'm on my spaces side. So remember, we're only adding 1 double crochet, and then your chain 1, and then 1 double crochet in each of these posts. Just don't forget your chain 1 in between it. Okay, so double crochet, chain 1. Oh, heavens. Everything's going wrong. At least my dog's quiet tonight. All right, so this is the 4th double crochet. I chained 1, and now I'm going to add 1 in the corner space, chain 3, and now we're coming to the end of the round. So remember, we're adding 2 because we're on a solid side, and then we have to put a double crochet in that first double crochet of the previous round. So 2 double crochets because it's the corner, and then 1 double crochet into that first stitch, and then you're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the initial chain 3, acting as a double crochet. Slip stitch. So let's count, make sure we have the same. Okay, so our solid side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then on our spaces side, we have 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. And then your chain 3s for your corners. So you should be looking very similar to mine. Okay? Okay, so this is round 4, and that's as far as I only went 4 rounds. But you can continue and build this square out as large as you'd like it. You can make it a blanket, you could make it a placemat, you could, you know, do whatever you wanted, but just keep doing with in the corners. You're going to add 2 on each side of the solids, and then when you get on when you rotate your square and you're on the spaces side, you're adding 1 double crochet and a chain 1 on both ends. Okay, so now we're on round 4. So we're going to start with our chain 3 where we're at, and then we're going to add 1 double crochet in each existing stitch from the previous round. So that's 1, okay, so that was 7, because remember, we didn't start at the beginning of the row. We still have these stitches over here, but when you chain 3, it was 7 double crochets, and now I'm in the corner, so I'm going to do my 2, and I'm going to chain 3. Now I'm on my spaces side, so that's a double crochet, a single double crochet, or just 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then I'm going to put a double crochet in each of these existing double crochets from the previous round. And then don't forget to chain 1 in between each one. That's how you get that little space in between. Okay. And they should line up. If you're putting your hook in the right spot, they should line up. Okay, so now I'm at the end. Now I'm going, oh, I forgot to chain one. Now I'm only putting in one at the end of my row. I'm going to chain 3. Now I'm on my solid side, so I'm going to add my 2 double crochets into the corner. And then I'm going to put 1 double crochet in each one of these stitches. Okay, so now I'm at my corner and I'm going to end this row of the solids with 2 double crochets. Now I'm in my corner, so I have to chain 3. And now I'm going to rotate my square, so now I'm on my spaces side. So remember, I'm adding 1 double crochet and then chain 1. And then I'm putting 1 double crochet in each of these 6 stitches with the chain 1 in between. Okay, so this is my last one. I'm going to chain 1 and then I'm going to add 1 more because now I'm in the corner. Okay, now I'm going to chain 3. Okay, so now this is the part where if you're going to make a mistake, this is probably where it's going to be. So remember, we're in the corner, but we're on the solid side. So we're going to put 2 in the corner. And then we're going to put in 1 double crochet in each of these stitches. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 that's acting as a double crochet. Okay, so that should match, and it does, thank goodness, right? So at this point then I like to slip stitch into the next stitch because we're going to fasten off. So you need to trim your yarn a little, pull it through and tighten that up, and then you're going to sew in your tails. And if you wanted, you could do a border. If you wanted to do a picot or a crab stitch, you know, anything that you wanted, you could still continue to work on making this grow, or you could put your own border on it, however you like. You could do a different color, you know, get creative with it. So if this was a little confusing with the chain 3 starting in the middle of the row, one thing I was suggesting in the beginning, after every round, if you fastened off, and then if you wanted to stay with the same color, you could, but if you started in the chain 3 space, then it's easier and you won't have that look of that chain 3 going up the center. I really like the cleanness of how that looks. So you may want to just do that just for the clean effect and not have that line running up or the seam running up from the chain 3. If after every round you had fastened off and then started here in the corner, if you're going to start on a solid side, remember you're going to start with 2 double crochets, and then every stitch from the previous round gets 1 double crochet, and then you're going to end with 2 double crochets, chain 3 to come around the corner, and then you're going to be on the spaces side, so that's 1 double crochet, chain 1, and then every stitch from the previous round gets a double crochet with the chain 1 in between, creating that space. Okay, so if you started here on the spaces side, then remember when you attach and you attach your yarn, either a different color or the same color, you're going to start, well, you'd have to start with the chain 3 because you need the height. So you'll still have a chain 3, but you won't have the seam look. And to someone who's not well versed with crocheting, it's not that noticeable to someone who doesn't crochet. But for those of us who do, to me it stands out. So it's up to you, but it will be a lot less noticeable if the chain 3 is coming out of the corner and then you're doing a solid row of double crochets. So that's the tutorial for tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed this square, and if you do decide to make it, please take some pictures and post them in the comments, or you can always post them on my Facebook page, which is Yarn Pastime. Look it up in the comments. I have it listed with a link. Thanks so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and like to the channel. You all have a great night.